all of you who are students in this course, and if you are not students in this course, if you contact me individually, you should be enrolled in Canvas now, the Canvas course associated with the seminar. Here's the URL here. If you just go to byu.instructure.com and log in, it should also let you in to that course as well. And this is where all of the assignments, the quizzes, the materials for the seminar are found. And so what we will do is we will get back to PowerPoint, and I'll go out of PowerPoint so I can see my full screen. So when you log in, the syllabus has been set as the front page. It gives you just some information about the grading and policies. As you come down, you will see the schedule of seminars here. And then you go into the seminar. Spencer, did you add my PowerPoint to this description?
Yes, they've got it. They've got it. I'll put it on the.
Okay. So often, so if a seminar speaker asks you to do something in advance, Spencer, who's the TA for the seminar, will email you that there's some assignment to do in advance, and we'll also put those here in Canvas so you can find them. If speakers choose to leave their presentation materials or other things, we'll also add them to their associated week of the syllabus of the assignment section, so you can access those materials later if they have handouts or PowerPoints or readings or other kinds of things that you may find useful. So you can find all of those things kind of collected here in a one-stop shop. Questions about that? I mean, that's kind of a basic overview. The real thing that I want to make sure that everyone is aware of are the assignments for the seminar. So there are 4 major assignments to be aware of. The first, attending seminar online at a distance. So sometime during the course of the semester, you'll log in to Zoom, and the Zoom link is on the front page of the syllabus. I'll show that in a second. From wherever. You could do it from downstairs in the lab if you'd like. You can do it from work, from home, wherever on campus. Given that this field is so involved in distance education, we feel it's important for you to have an experience as a student in a distant class. And this is one way that we think we can do that, at least at a small scale. As you do that, after you do that, you'll report that you did it, and then answer a couple of questions about your experience. We have some students online today. Probably a lot of them are going to be talking about the sound, because we're trying to make sure that the sound is working well. We also want to have you attend a project or a thesis or a dissertation defense. So you probably have noticed that Michelle Gray emails out when these are scheduled. So prospectus is when students are planning their projects or dissertations or thesis. You can go to a prospectus defense, or you can go to a final defense. So pay attention to those emails, particularly early in the semester. We have one, I know, on Friday and one on Monday that are scheduled. There may be others scheduled, but I know those, at least those 2. I'd encourage you to do this early. For one reason, that things just get busy for everyone at the end of the semester, and also sometimes those rooms fill up, and you may not be able to get in towards the end of the semester when everyone's trying to get in. Plus, it's just nice to recognize and be part of other students' successful experiences as well. And so try to spread these out, and even early on in the semester, attend those. Again, the assignment is that you'll report that you attended it and answer some questions about it. Explore an IP&T project. So what this one is an alumni or a student who has recently completed a project. You'll kind of do a little very informal interview with them. It's not formal, it's not structured. Just talk to them about their experience going through the process. So this could be a recent graduate. If you have a friend who's recently graduated, or you know someone who's recently graduated, or a student right now, a doctoral student who's just finished a project, you can just get a little bit of information from them. What did they do? How did they identify it? What did it entail? What was hard about it? What helped them be successful? The point of this is so you can be successful. You need to find the right there. I'm trapped by my power cord. How's that?
I'm still troubleshooting.
Oh, you're still troubleshooting, okay. That's upside down. So probably like this. And so the point again is to help you be successful in your projects. And early on, get some advice from someone who's done what you're going to do. The last full semester assignment, at the end of the semester, you'll just do an overall reflection about your experience with the course. What were your favorite seminar speakers? What did you learn overall? Did you draw connections between different topics? Those kinds of things is what you'll do in this final reflection. We hide this one so you just don't confuse it with the weekly quizzes that come up. So when you don't see it in your own assignments, don't worry about that. Then we turn this on the last week of the semester, and we'll give you a reminder at that point to go in and fill it out as well. But that's something to help you tie together your whole experience here. For each, like I alluded to last week, for each week of the seminar, there's also a quiz that you'll complete. The questions are the same for every week. And we'll turn these on week by week. So you won't see future weeks. Again, that's just to avoid confusion, make sure that you don't accidentally answer the wrong week's questions. You just always have to go to the last one on the list. And you have a full week to complete those. If you don't complete it, still complete it later. you get most of the points for completing it late, but we want you to complete it before the next seminar starts so you can, reflect while it's still kind of fresh on your mind. And the questions they're the same questions every week, like I said. So how prepared were you? So if you were asked to read something in advance or watch a video or do something in advance, did you do that on your honor? How well did you show respect for the presenter? This is defined in a few different ways. Being on time is one. And we define on time, if you walk in by the end of the opening prayer, is how we'll define on time. Because those announcements can be important as well. We want to make sure you hear those. I stayed for the full seminar. They run for 50 minutes. I did not multitask, doing things unrelated to the seminar. So everyone says they're taking notes. No one's taking notes. Very few people are taking notes. Take notes if you want to take notes, but if you're like me, you use that excuse before. I'm taking notes, and then you do other things. It's really easy, so check yourself. And just be honest with yourself and get the most out of this experience. These experiences are for you. We want to make sure that you can be successful. So take notes, but pay attention. And if you were on site, are you as close to the front of the room as you possibly can? And there are some chairs up here, it just doesn't make a lot of sense when you're backed up against the equipment, so just be your self-judge there. If you're online, again, were you multitasking? It's really easy when you're online to do 6 or 7 things at once. To turn the sound down and check emails or take a phone call or whatever it is. So be present. If you're at a distance, be present with the experience. Did you contribute? I was engaged in activities. And then just a quick reflection on the seminar experience. So what did you learn? What questions do you have? Where would you like to challenge the speaker? What connections maybe would you draw in your course? We invite speakers because we think they've got something important to say. We don't necessarily endorse everything they say, but we think it's worth engaging in. Even if us as faculty may disagree with some or a lot of what they say, we think it's still a topic worth engaging in. So you don't just need to accept everything as said at face value, and this is maybe a chance for you to reflect a little bit. This contradicted what I learned in class last week, or this seems different from the research that I'm doing, or this helps me with the research that I'm doing. This gives me great ideas for my project. Reflect on it, and just make the most of it that way. Does that make sense? Any questions about the seminar, the associated assignments or quizzes? The seminars are in this room, with the exception of the first week in October, we'll be in the library. And we'll announce that, make sure there's plenty of information to get you in the right place, signs on the doors and all that. We're inviting a speaker that other departments are interested in as well in October, and so we are taking a larger venue on that day. Okay. Well, I think then that is a preview of the seminar. We'll now move into previewing the department, and we're going to give you a quiz. Those of you who passed the quiz are done with grad school. The information for this quiz, for the most part, is found. You're not really done with grad school. I'm on camera. I probably shouldn't go on directly, right? You go to the department webpage, and this is kind of bigger, so there we go. So if you go to resources, there's a IP&T PhD student handbook and a master's student handbook. And the basic structure of these documents are the same, they just have different forms, or the information is customized for a different program. But if you go into that handbook, it takes you to a Google document that's got all kinds of resources and policy information. And so you can just go to whatever section you want to for whatever it is. So finding an internship, doing your project, requirements for how many credits you have to enroll in, those kinds of things are all found in the student handbook. So some of you may be familiar with the student handbook, some of you not. We're going to take a quiz on policies from the student handbook to encourage you to go look at the student handbook. So we'll try to keep this light and fun and good. So graduate student support. What is GSS and how can it support you? This is where I stop talking and you start talking. They provide donuts occasionally. So what is it? What is GSS? Yeah, Graduate Student Services, I think is what it is, or maybe Graduate Student Society, but how do they support you? Esther?
They're running a fair, I think today.
Okay.
And there's a dinner tonight to kind of get people together and give us information and.
Good. James?
Primary role isn't it just to like really inform you, like to inform you of like important events, important things you need to do before you graduate, that type of thing?
Yeah, so there's an informational role of GSS to make sure that you are informed of different events. There's career opportunities, networking opportunities, ways to find scholarships, ways to find grants, those kinds of things. And then also they'll build in some social activities. So there's a dinner. Sometimes they'll have events where you can just come and get donuts and talk to other grad students. Get support from other grad students. What is IPSO? IP&T Student Organization. And what is it? Dr. Kimmons was going to be feeling really disappointed.
It organizes like student contact outside of classes and other sorts of things that student organizations do.
Yeah. Same kind of thing as a graduate student from the university, but at the scale of our department. So there'll be socials for our department, game nights where they'll organize for you to get together and play games with each other, watch movies. Some of them will be really formal where you can, everyone is invited. Some of them will just be informal. People around the table talking and they send out an email and whoever shows up is great. It's a way for you to get involved in terms of being an officer. It's a way to have opportunities to build your resume by being an officer and being involved in the student organization. Social opportunities, other information or things that might be helpful for you. It's a great way to get involved. Like I said earlier, it's one of the things I probably regret about my grad student experience is I wasn't as involved in these kinds of things as I should have been. Spencer is passing out microphones now. As you answer, he'll speak into the microphone so that distant students can hear you better. So that's what those are for. And he will always be reminding us to speak into the microphone. You'll get good at that by the end of the semester. So just that's what this is into the microphone.
4 to 10 inches from your face.
What's that?
I just
4 to
remember
10
that.
inches, yeah, that was.
4 to 10 inches. was
Yeah,
recommended.
4 to 10 inches.
That's what he said.
What happens every week after seminar?
Soup.
Soup lunch. Here's a multiple choice. This one should be easy. Who is responsible for knowing program deadlines?
All of the above.
All of the above? Not a choice.
D.
Yeah, well, that-
You are. You're grad students, right? You're grown-ups.
But Michelle will definitely know.
Michelle will definitely know.
Yeah.
Now, in an ideal world like it is A through D, right? But sometimes things change. The university changes policies and sometimes it takes some time to trickle down. The department chair sometimes, it takes some time for him to learn about changes, or individual faculty sometimes is even longer for us. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, we hope that we know and we try our best to stay up to date. But if we make a mistake, right, it's still your responsibility to check with the university, especially for university deadlines, where sometimes I mean, it's a fast-moving environment. There's a lot of moving parts at the university. And we as a department respect grad student policies and university policies. We enforce them. And so it's to your benefit to make sure you know them. And if you talk to your faculty chair, and I'll use me as an example because I'm always saying this, I think it's this, but check with grad studies to make sure. That's what you need to do. It's your responsibility to make sure that you know what those are. Dr. Yancher, speak into the microphone.
Do you want to?
Well, I'm the graduate coordinator, and so I thought maybe I could help say just a couple of things about the deadlines. I very much agree. I think all the administrators on campus and faculty agree with what Dr. McDonald has just been saying about being responsible for knowing about the deadlines and following them in advance and so on. It's very important. Ultimately, you're responsible for your progress through the program, although we're here to provide as much help and support as we can. So, but about these deadlines, they kind of come from three sources. There's university graduate studies deadlines, and then there's McKay School of Education deadlines, and then there's IP&T deadlines. So that's kind of a lot of different sources of deadlines, and it can get a little confusing. So to try to simplify this, what I have done is created one macro deadline sheet that has all the deadlines for each of the semesters in one place. Right now, it's hanging on my door, like the 99 Theses. Nailed there for you to look, come and publicly look at. It's also the document that I sent out an email sometime, I think, last week. So if some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, then there's a kind of issue there. You might find out what's going on with the emails or something. Like the name Michelle or whoever. But if you look at that document, if you know what I'm talking about, you can see hard copy on my door, and it also gets sent out to everybody. It has all the different deadlines together for each semester for graduate. There's really four different times you can graduate, and so they're kind of attached to different semesters. There's December graduation at the end of fall, and there's April graduation at the end of winter, and June graduation at the end of spring, and August graduation at the end of summer. So there's a lot of different options available for you, but that means there's a lot of different deadlines, so you really got to watch that kind of stuff. If you miss certain deadlines, you have to wait, and that might mean at the pay or whatever other sort of ripple effects that creates. So just want to second what Dr. McDonald is saying, but also mention that if you're not seeing emails and you don't know what where this information is and you're feeling in the dark, just come and see me and I can help you get it all clarified and look at your emails, that kind of thing. So that's all.
Thank you. That is a good reminder that all of you should be on the grad student list. If you're not getting those emails, let us, we'll help you look into that, work with Michelle to make sure that you get added to that grad student email list. And check your email, because there are important things that go after that channel as well. Progress evaluations. How often is the department required to evaluate every grad student? James?
Once a semester?
Once a semester, okay, we go. Once a semester is one answer. Shannon?
Once a year.
Once a year, okay, we go. Once a year is an answer. Any other answers? McCoo?
Well, it's every fall and winter semester, right?
Yeah.
So not spring and summer.
Right, so twice a year, biannual, right, there you go. Twice a year, you're evaluated with the faculty of the department, and you evaluate your progress. So part of it is a self-evaluation, and that's emailed out to you to complete. Please complete it by those deadlines that are announced with that, and then the faculty review those and offer an evaluation as well. What are the possible outcomes of a progress evaluation? Those of you who've been through it, what are the possible outcomes?
Satisfactory, unsatisfactory.
And marginal.
Marginal and unsatisfactory. Is that,
I just try not to worry about those others.
don't worry about those other two, right? Because you're all satisfactory things. So satisfactory, marginal, which is kind of like a shot across the bow. And, there are some things maybe to be concerned about, but maybe unsatisfactory is kind of strong. One question that's not here is what are the consequences of marginal or unsatisfactory progress reports? Who?
So,
Microphone.
if I remember correctly, and you might have to correct me, essentially it's if you get 2 marginals in a row, you're out, right? And an unsatisfactory, I don't remember if you get 1 or 2. I want to say 2, but it might just be 1.
So you get 2 in a row, either marginal or unsatisfactory. So
Anything that's not satisfactory,
anything that's not
twice in a
satisfactory,
row,
you get twice in a row, yeah, that's it. So it could be a marginal and unsatisfactory, or it could be unsatisfactory and marginal, but it's, what we're looking for is we're looking for satisfactory. If you dip below that, we have one cycle essentially to correct that for you and help you correct that, to remain enrolled as a student in the program. Does that make sense? So basically, if you get one, don't get any others. That's the message. Okay. But none of you are going to get any, because you're all satisfactory students, as Ian said. What will be the automatic outcome of your progress evaluation if you do not complete your portion of it, the biannual self-evaluation of your own progress? What's the automatic outcome? Unsatisfactory. Yeah, that's an essential component of your self-evaluation. We need to know what's going on with you. We can't make our judgments well unless we know what's going on with you. And so that really is a required input into the evaluation process. Okay, financial aid. Where can you get financial support for attending conferences, finding awards for professional organizations that pay for conference travel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Nick.
I just go this way, so there's an IP&T survey that you can access in the student, there's an IP&T survey that you can access in the handbooks. And there's also an RPA, something like that is through graduate studies.
Yeah.
And then just whatever other private kind of scholarships
Right.
and grants you can get.
So in the handbook, we'll link to graduate studies. We've got the IP&T, the McKay School, all of those are linked. So the McKay School has grants as well that you can be part of. Graduate studies did. The professional organizations themselves may have opportunities. What is the difference between an IP&T grant and a scholarship?
Grants usually given based on need, and scholarships given based on merit.
Okay. Essentially, I mean, a grant, so a scholarship is based on some kind of academic, I mean, it could be based on like an academic need or an academic merit, but essentially a scholarship is attached to your academic standing in some way. Like it's a scholarship based on, I don't know, there's all kinds of things you can be based on, but a grant is typically just given to you through I'm explaining this terribly. Dr. Graham, you do this.
Grants are need-based, so.
Microphone.
Grants are need-based, so some of you may be going through a particularly challenging time. Something happens and you have a need for some help with tuition. Those come through grants. Scholarships come through your performance, so they're merit-based. How well you're doing in your classes, how well you're performing in terms of progress towards graduation, how you're doing with your research or projects that you're involved in with faculty.
You mentioned tuition, but it could also be used maybe for conferences or other experiences associated with your education.
Yeah, so there's travel grants too, which is part of those. And travel grants, anybody who gets something accepted at a conference can apply for a travel grant for up to $500 to help with their travel. So you can also get $300 through graduate studies, so that could be a total of $800 to help you travel and present. But those are also available.
Thank you. On top of these, there's also employment through the department. You can work as a teaching assistant for many of the courses, teach some of the courses, be a research assistant for faculty whose interests you align with, as well as obviously other campus opportunities for work. Internships. Okay, so write down in your mind 2 ways you can identify a potential internship, and we'll see what you come up with.
professors, you can contact companies that are doing work that's interesting to you.
Good, good. Is there any?
There is a list in the handbook of people who have, had internships in the past.
Yeah, so it's kind of common partners, some people who have hired a lot of students as part-time employees or as interns are listed there. James?
And then, at least from what I've heard, you can also look for research assistant, or you are looking for somebody on campus, you can often make that an internship as well.
Yes, so please visit with me if you want to do that. Sometimes there are some stipulations around that, particularly if you're working full-time. We want to make sure that the internship experience is extending you in some way that, you're all doing great work, right? But we want to make sure that the internship experience is extending what you would normally do so that you can connect it back to your coursework in some way or have some value out of being in this program other than just going to work every day. But if you're working part-time as a research assistant on an instructional project of some kind, often, and those things would typically just be internships as is. So you and I can visit, I'm the internship coordinator for the department, we can visit and make sure that you're fitting within those guidelines. There's the online application through the university at intern.byu.edu. And then there's also the contract for our department that's in the student handbook as well. You need to fill out both of those and make sure I get both of those. Approximately how many hours per week during a semester should you expect a 3-credit-hour internship to take? Alyssa?
10 hours.
10 hours. Okay, we've got 10 hours on the table. Anyone else?
Sorry, this is going back to question one. I
Sure.
just wanted to put a quick plug for the listserv. So I got a job in construction design
Yeah.
before I was admitted to the program.
Right.
Just was being attached to the listserv.
Yep.
It was a great opportunity. So
Yes,
just really
we'll
love
often,
those.
yeah, we'll email those out too as you become aware of them. Often we'll always get emails from someone who's got great opportunities and we'll restore those right. Okay, so we've got 10 hours a week for a 3-credit-hour internship. Anyone else want to say anything different? Sounds about right. 9 to 10 hours is what we're looking for. We're looking for about 125 hours during the course of the semester for a 3-credit-hour internship. You should register for internship credits, A, the semester you start, or B, the semester you finish your internship. A, Fred?
Start A.
At the start, A, okay. Any other? Anyone want to go for B? So internships are, Magoo, you want to say something?
I thought I remembered this is just a guess, I could be wrong, but I thought I remembered someone saying you can actually split up the internship credit as well and take like 2 credits one semester and one another. Is that true, or was I misinformed?
You can do that. You don't have to take all 3 at the same time. You cannot take more than 3. So that's the upper limit is 3, but you could take, and sometimes like over spring, summer, that works if, if you want to get other things going on, you can do 1.5 and 1.5. Or you can take all 3 during one semester. Typically, you want to register when you start the internship. But internships are kind of funny in that they don't necessarily span the semester. Like you can start an internship in October and complete it in February and still get credit. If you don't know about it in advance, if you don't know about the internship when the fall semester starts, you still can do the work, but you need to complete the contracting process first. So that's the essential thing, is you need to complete that contracting process. What we can't do is you come in and say, I did some great instructional design work over the summer. I think it counts as an internship. Can I get internship credit now? We need to, it needs to be planned in advance, identified as an internship in advance. Typically, sign up for the credit in advance, but at least go through the contracting process until the opportunity becomes, you become aware of it partway through the semester and you're going to finish it later. If you don't complete the internship during the semester in which you're enrolled, what happens? So let's say you sign up in fall semester for an internship, but something happens and it spills over into winter semester before you finish. James?
I believe you just have to register for both, right? Or at least let them know.
That's the actually advantage, you don't have to register for both. You need to let me know what's going on, but you'll receive what's called a T grade, which is a placeholder, essentially. And that T grade sits there for up to a year. And when you finish it, if you finish it in the winter semester, We do all the end of semester evaluation stuff at that point and retroactively get your grade for the semester in which you registered. So you don't have to register more than once for internship credit unless it extends beyond a year. You know, if it's a year and a half later, then we have to do it again. All right, the scope of PhD projects. So who are PhD students? So the scope of PhD projects are such, excuse me, that they should be able to complete it in what length of time? Sandy?
One semester.
Yep. Yep, roughly a semester. If a PhD project is not completed within a semester, when credit is taken, oh, excuse me, if a PhD project is not completed within what time frame, you receive a failing grade on that credit.
One year.
1 year. It's the same process. You'll receive a T grade at the end of the semester in which you enrolled for credit, and you have a year with that T grade on your transcript before it is changed to an incomplete. True or false? You must have a defense of your PhD project with 3 faculty members, and it will count as your comprehensive exam. True or false? Stacy?
I think you need to have a defense of the prospectus of your project, but I believe that's just with one faculty member, that does count as your comprehensive exam.
Okay. This is a trick question. The answer is false for this one. Because your PhD projects, excuse me, are your comprehensive exam, but they do not need to be defended in the same way that your thesis or dissertation is defended. The way that the projects are evaluated is you work with one faculty member to complete the project, you write it up, and then it's submitted to 2 other readers in the department, but you don't formally defend it like you defend your master's project or your master's thesis. Does that make sense? So that's the difference there. How far in advance of a defense does your final document for dissertations and theses need to be to your committee? So when you finished it and you're ready to defend it, how far in advance does your committee need to have it in hand before you can defend? This is an important policy question, one of those policy questions you need to know the answer to. Melissa?
I think it's 2 weeks.
Okay, we've got a vote for 2 weeks. Other votes? Dr. Manager, what's the right answer?
4 weeks.
4 weeks. So the final document needs to be to your committee 4 weeks in advance. Some of these things are big. These are big books that you've written. So 4 weeks in advance.
Just a quick clarification on the 4 weeks. The way the deadlines work is 2 weeks before your defense actually is held, you have to have it formally scheduled through the university, and with Michelle helps you with that. But before you can actually formally schedule the defense with Michelle, your committee has to have already approved the document is good enough for defense. Which doesn't say anything just except for the fact that they're approving your ability to defend it, like in terms of the quality of the document. And so they need 2 weeks to look at the document before they give their assessment, right? And so it's like you'll give your entire committee the document, and then within 2 weeks, they'll sign and say, yeah, you're ready to defend, or they'll kick it back and say, no, there's no problem. And so once you get all those signatures, though, and they say it's ready to be defended, then you schedule with Michelle, and then there always has to be 2 weeks between the time you schedule and when you actually have the defense. That's why it's 4 weeks.
Yeah. Great. How many dissertation or thesis project credits can you take prior to passing a prospectus defense? Got 2, got 4, because it's different for each one, right? Naku?
So again, not entirely sure, but I believe for masters it's 1.5, isn't it? I think that's what I was told.
So it's 2 for masters.
Okay.
So you have 6 that are required before you graduate, and only 2 of those can be taken before your prospectus is approved. And you have 18 credits of dissertation that are required, and only 4 of those can be taken before your prospectus is approved for your dissertation. Okay? So it's, you can't pad, your curriculum essentially by taking lots of dissertation credits while you're still working on your prospectus. You need to be making progress on it and get that done. Dr. Graham.
One other thing that's new about this that we're doing starting this year for the first time is that when you take your first thesis or dissertation credit, we're requiring you to actually attend a class.
Project credit as well.
And project credit as well. And so this class won't meet, twice a week or anything like that, but it'll meet regularly throughout the semester and provide you scaffolding to help you with writing your prospectus and knowing the APA things and the deadlines and those kinds of things that will be critical to you. So if you're signing up for thesis, dissertation, project credit for the first time, you need to make sure that you attend that class.
And just so you know, any of you who are doing that, we're meeting again this Friday at 10 o'clock in 168.
Thank you. When is it okay to change members of your committee?
Sorry, this goes back to the previous statement.
Back to the previous day.
Yeah, I just want to put a plug in. So there is a prereq IP&T 510 course. I think in the past some students have put off taking that course a bit too long. It's not good to wait to take that course after you've defended your prospectus. So the sooner you take it, the better, so you can prepare for writing your prospectus. Otherwise, it makes writing your prospectus much more difficult. It takes a lot more really focused effort with your advisor to write your prospectus according to APA formatting, those kinds of things, if you haven't taken that course.
And so ideally, you take that course either the spring before you're admitted, or the fall semester when you're admitted,
Or the following spring.
or the following spring term. So like worst case, you should, if you're a first year student, you should take that class in the spring. Don't push it beyond spring to the fall of your second year. That's when you'll probably start to be thinking about your prospectus, is when you start that fall of your second year. All right, when is it okay to change members of your committee? McCoo.
Another guess, but I think it's pretty much any time before your prospectus is defended, right? As long as you fill out the right paperwork for it.
Yeah, so there's paperwork that needs to be filled out, and I believe you can change it afterwards if there's a reason. Dr. Graham, is that right? Yeah, so really, you can change it as needed.
Although it's more difficult to change it after you've defended a prospectus. So we do not encourage that.
It'd be very unusual.
Yeah.
It should be very unusual circumstances after your
It's
prospectus.
possible that if you change your committee after you've defended your prospectus, that you will have to defend your prospectus again to that committee member that you're adding on to your committee.
So if they're really hard, like if they're making you do a lot of work, that's why you change your committee, right? No, it's not why you change your committee. Why do you change your committee?
Your project interest changes.
Right, so to align better, as you get some experience and you start to see whose interests you align with the most. If you need some special methodological help, if your project evolves and you need someone with background in a certain methodology, you may change your committee. There's all kinds of reasons, but they should, in the best cases, be related to what's going to help you be as successful as possible. And you don't have to worry about hurting anyone's feelings. We like all of you. As you ask us, some of us may say, no, we can't take on any more students right now, but that doesn't mean we don't like you all the same. We still like you. We are trying to balance our workloads as well and making sure that we are adequately able to advise the people who are working with us. And you can do the same. If you feel like you're not getting quite the attention because someone's just a little too busy, maybe you might make a change at that point as well. There's no offense, just like we would hope that you wouldn't get offended if we have to tell you no. There's no offense taken on our part if you tell us that you're changing your committee. What we would ask for is that you do let us know. If you make a change, if you're taking me off of your committee, let me know, just so I kind of know what the plans were. So that's just, that's an email, it's a quick conversation, it's not a big justification. It's a, hey, heads up, I'm making a change. And that's really all that it is. Okay. Spencer.
Question from McDonald.
Yes. What is the question? I can't read this screen.
Email says Friday meeting is at 9, you said it's at 10. Question for him,
Okay.
Clarify that. Also, how long will the class be?
So last week we met at 9, and for those of us who were there, we decided that this week we would meet at 10. Just so this week, we're meeting at 10. And then at that point, we will make another decision on what time we're going to meet. If you can't be there, contact me or Dr. Davies. We can record those sessions because some people will be Zooming in as well. Was there another question with it? How long will it be? Just about an hour. So not really long.
All right, well, we've got various stages of program admissions. We're going to march through some of these quickly since we are towards the end of the hour. We want to get everyone a good belly full of soup. So before you're admitted to the program, there's kind of 4 steps. As you're taking your program core, there's 9. And after you finish your core courses, as you're proceeding towards graduation, there's 8. Just a reminder, this PowerPoint will be in Canvas afterwards, so you can go back and review if we don't cover everything to your satisfaction. But the 4 things in advance, and congratulations. Most of you have done this. We do have a few students who are working on getting admitted to the program who are in the room, but most of you have done this. So you submitted an application, you made a decision in your favor. Hopefully you've met with a temporary advisor, someone the department assigns to you just to kind of get you started until you kind of get your legs underneath you and you know what direction you want to go. And you start to plan your first year courses. Hopefully you started, well, you're here, so you've at least planned your first semester courses. And hopefully you've also thought about the second semester courses as well. And in the handbook, depending on the track that you're aligning with, like measurement or design or research, there are tracks suggested in the handbook of what courses you should take in what order and where you take electives and how do you choose those electives. Those of you who've been students for a while, quickly, what were the main roadblocks to you getting started? This is one question I do want to answer since there are so many new students in the room. What were kind of the roadblocks you ran into?
Dr. Davies shared something that was really valuable to me, saying that I think that your thesis or if you're a master's student, your dissertation has to be this master work and the culminating thing that you've ever done. It doesn't have to be that. It can be something that you're interested in, that you're willing to complete,
Yeah.
and that will push you. And so rather than trying to find your master work, plan on doing cooler stuff after your thesis and get the thesis done.
You got a whole life ahead of you, right? Good. Good. Yeah, so that feeling of I gotta change the world in grad school is a real feeling that a lot of people feel. And, that's a good reminder. Thank you. Any other?
So a lot of people said this to me right when I started, and I would just echo this. Look at the student handbook. Right when I started the program, I still kind of felt like probably at least the first semester, if not the first 2 semesters, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off because I didn't really know what was happening or what was going on or what's the difference between a thesis and a project. In fact, we actually discussed that more last week in our project class. Anyway, so yeah, just look through the student handbook and also don't be afraid to ask questions. They're not going to make you sound stupid because most likely other people are probably wondering the same thing. So yeah, ask questions,
Good.
read the book.
Thank you. Good advice. Both of us, great advice. As you're working on your program, Kevin, do you have a question?
Yeah, could you quickly touch on what is the difference between a project and a thesis?
That's like an hour-long debate right there, isn't it? Maku, you guys talked about it.
I'll do it, I'll say it really simply. A thesis is research,
Good.
and a project is evaluation or design.
So a practical, like a practical application of something.
And dissertations are just for PhDs, not for master students.
Yes, good.
Yes.
And research only.
Research only for dissertations. As you're working on the program core, here are things to be aware of. There are evaluations that will happen. The first one will happen in roughly a month from now. Even those of you who are new students, you're new students, but you'll still go through that process. You'll start to select your committee. You'll build your program of study for your grad school experience. Completing core courses, skill courses, internships. Master's students have 1 internship, PhD students have 2. What that means is 3 hours of internship or 6 hours of internship. Complete your projects, specialization courses, seminar, and then you start to graduate. You get ready to finish the program and begin graduation. So a progress evaluation will continue through the program. You'll select the person that you think is going to help you with your dissertation or your project or your thesis, and your whole committee around that. You'll write your prospectus, defend it, carry out the study or work or whatever it is, then write your dissertation, defend that, or project or thesis. Dissertations and theses go through a process through the dean's office, so be aware of those deadlines. Projects go through a slightly different process than dissertations or theses, so just be aware that if that's what you've done. There are additional steps with the College of Education, School of Education. The university, you have to submit documents at certain times before you can graduate. And then Dr. Graham conducts an exit interview with every graduating student as well as administers an exit survey. And we're going to end there. Go check out this PowerPoint and look at some of the great things that our students are doing and how they're accomplishing things. So the main message from today is what? Read. All right, thank you, and we'll see you downstairs soon.